I am not going to stop until I own her entire wardrobe. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I take you on the behind the scenes of my latest cosplay costuming journey. I've clearly already made the red dress from the Christmas light scene, and I made the Cheermeister dress. So every holiday season, I'm continuing to recreate more and more of her iconic wardrobe. So today's video is going to be the blue robe from the end of the movie. Okay, let's talk about the supplies, because I never really considered what this robe was made out of. I just sort of assumed it was a blue velvet, and maybe it is because there's a complete and total lack of reference pictures besides this one that I can find on Google, and these ones that I took zoomed in on my phone on my laptop screen with the movie on pause, and it looks a completely different color and texture in every scene. I have no idea what this is made out of, but I have a strong suspicion that it is satin just because of how shiny it is. Without any research or prep, if you asked me what this robe was made out of, I would say a velvet, a stretched velvet, and I was hoping that was something that I had in my fabric stash. I have something close, which is a blue crushed velvet, but obviously this is not the correct texture that we're going for. Because I wanted to start this like 2 weeks ago before I got hit with some sort of mysterious plague, I have been delayed. This is what I see in my mind's eye, but I'm starting to feel like it's not giving as much shine as hers does. With our two velvet options out, I have a fabric that I think we're going to choose. I would just like to say that I looked through my whole fabric stash in my garage, then turned around and found this bolt of Joann's fabric, RIP, but unfortunately it's a matte satin, and the reason that I wanted to use satin is because it's shiny, so I think this one is out. Which brings us to my Cyber Monday mood order. It's shiny, it's also heavyweight because I am not planning on lining this. It might be a little bit more steel blue than I want, but we're gonna do our best because I have 4 options here. It's not financially advisable for me to have bought any of these, considering I had 2 viable-ish options already. So we're gonna go with this one and make the most of it. I have been weirdly specific about the faux fur that I'm using along the trim, and it's weirdly so difficult to get a faux fur that looks like this one, and the only place I've ever seen it is at Joann's, and as we all know, unfortunately Joann's is no longer, and that means that I can't find any of the fabrics that they sold there anywhere else, even though Michaels claims to have them. They don't. To my delight, I found a Joann's bag with exactly enough faux fur from the original red dress that I made. This is the one that feels right to me, and it's sort of giving unruly poodle. It's also kind of see-through. I think that her dress is actually feathers, which sounds really expensive and insanely difficult to sew. So we're gonna go with unruly poodle instead. And we're going to leave this for last since it is already shedding all over me. But overall, this robe is not that complex to make. You just need your blue fabric, satin or velvet, dealer's choice, and your faux fur. For me, it's not about accuracy, says someone who just showed you 4 different, almost identical fabric options, as it is the vibes. Because Martha May is a Christmas icon, and I have to have more of her outfits in my wardrobe. Okay, let's get cutting. Okay, for our pattern, I need to do a little bit more research on the nuances of how this is actually structured, but for the basics, I am going to just do 2 pieces on the front, 1 piece for the back, and then a probably 3/4 circle skirt, mostly because I'm afraid of how much fluff I have left that I can actually line the bottom with. Because once I run out of the fluff, there's no more fluff to be found. I have to work with what I have. But here's my top. I just draped a basic top pattern. I'm gonna put a dart in the side here, and then I'm gonna put my structure belt piece here. The weird thing about this pattern is firstly the sleeves. I'm gonna be using this pattern as my base, at least somewhere to start with. Extend this out 2 inches. I'll be taking this in so that the neckline is a little bit more V-shaped. And otherwise I think this is a fine shape to start with. And we'll get going on cutting out the big pieces of the pattern and go from there.
Since it's the end of the year and I've been sick for like a month, the fast and loose method is about all I have left in me, so I am making my alterations directly on my final fabric, cutting one side out, tracing the other, and calling it a day.
My pre-holidays plague continues, but we are making progress on this because I am giving myself a week to make this because there is snow outside and I be revealing this outfit in some snow. I think I'm happy that I went with the satin instead of the velvet because look how shiny it is in the light. Well, we're just gonna whip this right up. And I do recall that using the fluffs last time was like painful on the sewing machine. So I don't know what I'm gonna do to prevent that from happening. Unto itself and then iron it.
Sort of a weirdly placed start, but that's what I get for doing about a half a mock-up. Still looks pretty like flush and flat and nice though.
I'm not really sure what happens between me and the most basic pattern to start with, and somehow it coming out still weird. How did this happen? I think before I handle this situation, I am going to put the sleeves on because sleeves are always really hard for me and I'd rather have more room than have them be too tight. And like this, I think is the perfect amount of sleeve space. So let's pivot and put the sleeves on and then we'll worry about this and the actual like length of the robe. The reason that I picked my starting pattern is because of the sleeves, because I don't know where the heck to start with that. Essentially, this is kind of what I'm going for. It looks like a little boat. I'm gonna cut off like the bulk of this sleeve and just go meow.
In my first mock-up, I am taking off quite a bit here because these are way too voluminous, and I ended up with sort of a bell shape, which after putting it on it took way too much off.
Okay, last sleeve was too short. I have extended it significantly. Okay, well, pretend it's not so stiff like a bat wing. I think maybe this is too much. Like, it should be gradual and not pointed at the end. I think that I'm doing this wrong. Not in, like out. There's like some that hangs down past my knee. And then the front is the shorter section. All right, good thing I did this in muslin before I cut it out of the real fabric.
Basically, I made the V shape the wrong direction, so I'm just kind of inverting that, and I'm gonna need to take it in a lot because this is just getting more massive.
Sometimes I'm trying to be sewing so fast and loose that I don't even get a chair involved. I've just been making these sleeve mock-ups like this. 1 foot under the table, just whipping it. Somehow that feels faster because I didn't have to sit down and get up. This still feels wrong. This is just bigger of what we had before. I think if I just brought this part in, like that way out more. I am just so far from the original pattern at this point.
Anyway, I feel like we're almost there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this version out of the fabric because this is definitely big enough that I can find what the sleeve looks like in this shape. And I'd rather cut out a way too giant sleeve that I can work with than cut out something that's too small because I am really kind of worried about how much fabric I have for the skirt. I'm already making it a 3/4 circle because fabric is scarce on this project.
I am famously bad at attaching sleeves. This looks pretty good for attempt number 1, but the real test is gonna be the fit test. Guys, is it fine? Is it, dare I say, good? Okay. This is comically too long. I think that a realistic point to bring it into is here on my hand, but let the bottom be long. Let's put the other sleeve on and hope it goes as swimmingly as this one. The second one did not feel as smooth sailing to assemble, but honestly, guys, it's working. I mean, I can't be too choosy with how these sleeves come out because I'm so bad at sleeves. You would think that over the course of 5 years of sewing, I would get better at sleeves, but every single time it comes up in a project, it's my worst fear. And, you know, so I'm just gonna take this as a win. Is that fine? I mean, I have no idea. I'm just gonna keep going.
All right, time to fix this back situation. Don't ask me what happened here. I can't tell you.
If I'm doing this, a dart all the way up to the neck, I feel that I might as well just cut it in half and put a seam up the back. Duh.
Okay, next and really quick, we're just whipping up a quick belt. There's no rhyme or reason with this one. I just made it wider at the back and skinnier at the front where it's going to attach. Traced it out of what I thought was interfacing, but turns out it was tearaway embroidery stabilizer. It's fine, it's just a little crinkly and crunchy. Moving right along, now that we have everything cut out of our blue fabric, we can cut the skirt, and look at that. It's a case of girl measuring coming in, because I can't be bothered to figure out how long I want the skirt to be. I just need to make sure it was long enough. What is this, some slow worm I'm doing? Anyway, now that I've confirmed that this is the length of my legs plus whatever portion of my waist I thought was appropriate, we cut it out.
I realized something exciting yesterday while I was cutting out the skirt fabric. A new way of girl math and girl measurement for me is that if I hold my arms like this, it's 60 inches. So I know that this is the 60-inch portion of the skirt. So this bit right here is a little bit longer. I think it's like 65. Which should give me a fun train moment, and then I can take up the front to be like normal grazing the ground level, and gradually go into the train in the back. I'm doing a 3/4 circle skirt because I don't think I have enough fluffs to go around a full circle. I also think I'm gonna do a French seam because there's moments where you can see into her skirt. And if that happens, I want to make sure that my seams look nice because I'm not lining this with anything. So let's get to French seaming, and I always forget how to do this. I think it's wrong sides together first, flip it around, wicked witch, flip it around, wicked witch. That is constantly stuck in my head. Anyways, wrong sides together, flip it around, so this enclosed on itself. Open that up and it'll be like a normal seam here, and then I could sew this piece down so it's like flat. Let's go. Sometimes my brain leaves my head when I sit down at the sewing machine because I literally was sitting there going, Martha May, flip it around, wicked witch, and I sewed the right sides together. I just did the whole thing. Wrong sides together, flip it around, wicked witch, and I sewed the right sides together. So why am I like this? But anyways, Martha May, flip it around. I need to think of a Whoville one.
Alright guys, let's stop messing around and be serious. Let's assemble this skirt and do the French seams the correct way. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm doing it just like I said. And if we got lucky with the loose math, these skirts should be the right size for the waist. We'll pin the top on, sew that down, and we're good to go.
Alright, here's the current state of things. The waist is a little bit more snatched than necessary. I'm just gonna attach my belt right to these edges here because the belt doesn't go on top of everything, so that when I put the closure in, it's just gonna be like a button right here underneath the fluff. And I can't tell if these are still way too long, but I wanna be bringing the drama. I'm also getting increasingly worried about how much fluff I have. This one is like this. That'll be my overlap. Time to sew this down and get all the fluffs, and I'm really worried. I am knowingly procrastinating right now, and I just feel like I'm like slowly going along making the blue part of the dress, knowing in the back of my head that I'm worried about the fur. Because I spent all these years not making this dress because I wanted to use the exact fur that I used on the red one, but now I think that fur might be like not good enough. I have two big concerns about the fabric. It's not fluffy enough and it's too sparse. I'm not getting the point across. What's the best way to show you? This is how thin it is. It's very thin and I'm afraid it's gonna look flat when I put it on. Let's get in here and analyze it. Also, there's just fluffs everywhere immediately. This is upside down. It definitely looks fluffier, but the sparseness in there is what I don't like. And then this is the flat way, more organized. I need to view it from far. I also had a thought of what if I could brush it? I might be onto something. Okay, I just took a brush. Can you tell where I brushed it? I think you can. Look, fluffier here too. And I also could put polyfill in between to make it like even bigger. I think we're gonna proceed with this because I almost panic bought like $100 worth of faux yak fur that wasn't gonna come in time and delay me even further.
I probably could have done this math at any point, but first I'm doing a stock of how much fabric I have and trying to organize the shapes that are already straight that don't really need to be cut and figure out where those are gonna go so we can maximize this. It's like a puzzle. and it's also like a blizzard of fluffs. I made from the collar all the way down to the floor in one long piece, and I'm just going to attach it that way.
I feel like that quote from Home Alone that's like, Marv, why do you look like a chicken? I sewed my tube of fluff together, and I'm gonna sew it directly to the edge of the robe. This isn't the most professional and best way to get it done. And I think I'm gonna put it through my serger, which seems like a recipe for disaster, but let's see how it goes.
Right, and then this was almost immediately. No, no, no. Get out right now of my sewing machine.
Here's what it's looking like. The fluff is underwhelming. Like, I don't want it to go too far over my shoulders, so I think the width is okay, but it's not puffy enough. It doesn't matter, it just has to be close enough. I do think that since this isn't puffy enough, I'm gonna fill it with polyfill.
I love a reason to take something bulky out of my fabric stash. I don't know why I have this polyfill, but it came in perfect handy. And I think I may have overstuffed this, but let's give it a fluff with the brush.
Okay, it's going well. The fluffing and the polyfill is, I may have overfilled it. I wanted it to be like, bam! This is the aftermath of me sewing this on, putting the polyfill in, and trying it on. I look like a chicken. Please. And it's like, I can't leave this room or else this will get all over my house.
I somehow pieced together a 10-inch fluff to put around both sleeves and then added polyfill to fluff it up. And then I pasted my demons, the trim around the skirt.
Look at the floor. Okay, but anyways, it's giving Thneed. I just cut out this really long trim. Now I'm going to attach it to the bottom of the robe and go from there. But we're making progress. I just feel like I'm inhaling a lot of the fibers from these fluffs, which probably is not good for my lungs. Like, I really feel like they're back in there.
300 inches later, somehow I pinned all of this to the skirt and I had leftover. What? Anyway, that was a huge win, and this is what my floor was looking like. I had to vacuum every 5 seconds. It's still all over my house no matter what I do, and it's stuck to me constantly, but that is the price I pay. Anyways, finishing up with the final touch, which is adding the closure to the front. I'm not doing the crossover that I wanted to do with the robe because my lack of math did not allow for there to be enough fabric for that. But I don't even care because it's done.
That's enough of that. I don't even feel like that was worth it, and now I'm covered in sticks and this is soaking wet. Let's hope you can see the snow. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. I've had so much fun the last couple of years making Martha May's outfits, and the fun doesn't have to stop because I'm sure I'll find another one to make next year. I already have my eyes set on this outfit. If I had to decide which one was my most favorite, this one is the most well-made. This is the most fun to wear with the present hair, and the Santa dress is like the most confidence boosting one. Wrapping this one up, I'm really happy that I went with the satin because this stuff is so heavy, especially after I put the polyfill in. I feel like if I used the stretch velvet, it just would have pulled everything down. I think that the fur on the neckline could have been better. Honestly, this looks a little cheap to me, so I may end up replacing it one day, but it gets the point across. I did have to remove some of the fluff because I really overstuffed it and then it wasn't fitting across the shoulders correctly. But for the most part, very happy with how it came out. As usual, the fluffs were all over everywhere. I think that wraps it up, so thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I just lost one of my presents. Anyway. Anyways, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and come back for more cosplay content because I am hoping that 2026 is going to be a much more active year for me making cosplays. I had so many dreams come true this year. I'm so excited to see what 2026 has in store. So thanks everyone for watching. It means so much that you're all here. I hope everyone enjoys a happy holidays and a happy new year. Okay, bye.